Okay, so I think let's start. We have
Okay.
around 50 people in YouTube also, and they are joining, and
Sure.
yeah,
So
and they can watch the recordings also. So,
definitely.
I am one sec. Um, yeah, we can you please stop sharing the screen?
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I'll do that.
So, guys, good evening, and I'm very happy to announce our this wonderful new initiative to train the aspirants for GPAT, and we are starting at CliMed this year only, right? I mean, till date we did not start such programs, but after the multiple requests and after the multiple suggestions from my team also, this time we thought, okay, let's enter to this field. But as I'm seeing the market about the GPAT trainings and other pharma, examination preparations trainings, they are quite costly and not properly available. Either their, faculty members are not proper, or only one person is teaching all the subjects. There are certain things which are not appropriate. I have seen there are good coaching centers also. There are multiple things available in the market, but there are multiple drawbacks also with those institutions and people. So with my team, we were thinking for a longer time, but recently we thought, okay, let's do something for first for our GPAT aspirants who are going to give this exam on June 8th, right? Our exam for this year is June 8th, right? So we thought, okay, let's do something kind of a course like the entire course for GPAT aspirants, but then we thought it would not be a good time for 6 month or 8 months course, or the full-fledged course. So my team has come up with the booster course. Okay, we call it GPAT preparatory booster program, and we kept it completely free, 100% free for everyone. Anyone who wants to join it, we kept it 100% free, no charges at all. And you won't believe, guys, we are seeing quite less people in Zoom and in YouTube. We have around, in total, I can see there are around 250 right now. But you won't believe how many people, have registered for this. Do you know that how many? Can you guess that? 3,300 people have registered for this program. And I'm very sure out of 3,300, at least 1,500 to 2,000 people will be looking into this. At least, if not in the live classes, in the recordings, they will be seeing that course. They will be taking benefit out of this. At least 1,500 people, I'm very sure, right? And right now, I can see that we are touching 100 also in the YouTube, and we have hundreds and around 200 in Zoom meetings. So there are people. I know that every day attending the classes, they have exams and multiple things. The fourth year, third year pharmacy people, they have the exams also. There are sessional exams. There are multiple. The final exams are going on. A lot of things are there. So I assume that if we are getting at least 10 to 20% people in live classes, and then at least 50 to 60% people are watching our videos and getting benefited, that would be amazing thing, and a kind of glad to all of us, right? So when we were preparing this program, I wanted the best faculty members and best teachers for that. And you guys know that we have called Payam recently for one wonderful webinar, and my team was quite impressed, and they were like, sir, Payam ke sath hi karte hain kuch. So I called Payam and I asked him directly, can you please be with us for this program? We are we are preparing such programs. So he gladly accepted it, and I'm very happy that he is a part of that. But along with that, Payam, and he got some of the friends of him also to teach you guys and to help you in clearing the GPAT. So we have 3 faculty members who will be taking the classes, and this booster course will be completed in 20 to 25 days. Okay, we have planned it very meticulously. These guys have planned it meticulously to cover at least 80 to 100% syllabus. I'm not telling the 100% only, but 80 to 100% syllabus these guys will be covering. And teaching you. This will be a refreshing course for you. This will be a revision course for you. If you are studying for the entire year, that will be helpful. If you are studying now only with us, it will still cover 80 to 100%, and I'm very sure you will be able to clear the GPAT if you are attending these 20 classes and our 4 mock interviews. I mean, sorry, 4 mock tests after this, right? We have planned 4 mock tests along with these 20 classes, right? So we have with us Mr. Payam Bohra. He is GPAT All India rank 43, NIPER AIR 11, IIT BHU, Manipal AIR 8, and ICT METCH rank 01, CUET rank postgraduate rank 1. So we have all experienced faculties who have gone through this process, who have understood this GPAT and NIPER and Manipal and CUET, all things. You can see our people are very, very, very good in this field. Everyone is into the single rank, single digit ranks in almost all the exams. So I appreciate them that they accepted our invitation to teach you, to interact with you guys. And I believe all of you will be taking this as a wonderful and beneficial course for all of you, and at least give a try for GPAT. Okay, if you are preparing for that, wonderful, it will be helpful. And if you're not, then give a try. Let's check our course. It will be a standard. It will be a standard if you are taking our course and just giving the GPAT if you're in third year or something. And it will be great to us also, and we will be very happy if 10 to 20%, 30% people from our batch gets into the GPAT because of our efforts. So we are here to put our efforts 100%, and that's why we kept the entire booster course plus mock tests free of cost for everyone all over India. 3,300 people. I know there are almost, I heard that there are almost 16 lakh people who sit in the, exam every year, but that's okay. I mean, slowly, steadily, we will reach to maximum. But this year, as we have launched recently, we reached to 3,300, students all over India, and won't believe there are 135 colleges, students from 135 colleges in India, not only one college. There are 135 colleges in India have participated in our this program, and I welcome you all. I welcome you all, wholeheartedly to learn from it. And thank you very much again, guys. And next 20 days, you will be having the classes every day. Every day, 6 p.m. Your classes will be there on Zoom and on YouTube live also. Okay, so you can attend anywhere. We have the Zoom of 1,000 also. If you everyone wants to come to the Zoom meeting, you can come to the Zoom meeting also. Otherwise, at your convenience, if you want to attend from the YouTube, you can attend from the YouTube. And don't worry, our one special someone will be there to take your questions from YouTube and ask the mentor. Okay, even the Payam and whoever is taking the classes, they will be having the YouTube open in the separate device, and they will be taking your questions. So don't think that your questions, if you are putting in the YouTube, won't be taken. Everything will be discussed, whether you are asking in the Zoom or whether you are asking in the YouTube, right? So with that, I again thank you everyone, and I thank these three wonderful mentors who are going to teach you guys. So with this, I'll hold back my words, and I'll hand over the entire class to Payam. So welcome, Payam, and over to you. Thank you very much.
First of all, good evening to all the aspirants. Hoping to see you all coming out with flying colors in GPAT after, for sure, GPAT examination on June 8. And special thanks to Dr. Ajit sir, CliMed, and the entire team for organizing such a beautiful concept, for making it free, the knowledge of GPAT for all everybody around the nation. So yes, today will be our first lecture, and today we will be discussing about few topics of jurisprudence and few topics of microbiology. So I expect that we make this class interactive, not boring. It will be a little faster because it's a booster course. So I will be just giving you all the correlation, right? So firstly, jurisprudence क्यों पढ़ना है? The major motto for studying jurisprudence is 8 marks. So you need 8 marks in GPAT. How come? Because इससे 8 marks के question जरूर आते हैं jurisprudence के schedule से and form से and certain acts. So we will be discussing schedules today. So there are almost A to Z सारे schedules है except few letters, but we will be discussing the important one and उसे कैसे याद रखें. So the number one is the A, Schedule A for application. Bus. You don't have to remember this complete statement. It is no use. You only have to remember one word, A for application. BF, B for fees. C. So C में दो है, C and C1. C, what is an important question that appears from this part? C is for parenterals, biologics. That is all immunological products. And C1 is for non-parenterals, certain antibiotics, certain vitamins, right? So ये चीज आपको याद रखनी है that C and C1. C मतलब parenterals या biologics and C1 मतलब non-parenterals या non-biologics. So here you need to know this major thing. अब the next schedule that we are moving on to is schedule D. So schedule D and schedule K मैं चाहता हूं that हम साथ में करें. ऐसा क्यों? Because in both the schedule there is an exemption and kids get confused in this part only कि भैया exception है दोनों में ही है, एक वर्ड का फर्क है. K में exemption for manufacturing है and D में exemption from import है. So इसको याद कैसे करेंगे? DI and KM. So DI stands for drug inspector, right? तो जो schedule D है उससे आपको import से exemption है, while schedule K है उससे आपको manufacturing से exemption है. So आपको दोनों ही exemption दोनों schedule से याद रखना.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Can you
Yeah.
please keep it in English only, because there
Okay,
are many
sure.
people from South India and they
Sure.
are having
We'll
some
make it in
difficulty in
English for
understanding.
sure.
So
No
that
worries.
would be
No
great,
worries.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So moving on, we have DI and KM. D for imports exemption and K for exemption from manufacturing. Okay. So don't forget this two schedules, D and K. Next up, we have E. E for poisons. E में every poisonous substance comes. Okay. So poison means E. E1 specifically poisons from Ayush. Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Ayush. So if they ask you in exam, they are this time since a new committee is going to conduct, so we never know. They might go to the details. So just see to it that you see the word Ayush. Agar poison, if you just see the word poison and you go and you move on to the answer, that's wrong. You need to see the entire statement of question. Okay. In F, we have F, F1, F2, F3. Okay. So F3 mein we have umbilical tapes. Umbilical tapes. F2 में we have surgical dressings. And F1 में we have all veterinary biologics. All veterinary biologics. So F1, F2, F3, you need to know three of them ka applications. Veterinary biologics, surgical dressings, and umbilical tapes. Next up, FF. FF is specific. FF में again we have FFA and FFB, but it is too much in detail, not required at your level. But if you want, you can write FFA is for solution, FFB is for suspension and emulsions. Is for solutions, FFB is for suspension and emulsions. Okay, this is much in detail, but not, it's usually not asked. Next up, we have G and H. Again, we are going to study them simultaneously. Why? Because they both contain certain substances that require a prescription. But what is the difference? GM, good morning. G mein there is medical supervision also required. But in H, there is only prescription needed. No medical supervision is not necessary. It can be there, but not necessary. But in Schedule G, we have medical supervision drugs. Okay. So you would have heard about Schedule X drugs and all, right? Narcotic and psychotropic. So there are certain drugs that might lead to drug dependency or drug addiction. So that is why these two schedules are specifically designed for them. Schedule G and Schedule H for medical supervision and H is for prescribed drugs. J. So those who are Hindi, like those who know Hindi, J means jadoo, magic. So J for magic. So those drugs that claims to cure but does not cure. Now, what does this mean? J में all those drugs that claims to cure the disease but it does not cure. मतलब they are claiming that you will lose weight in 5 days, but we all know it's not possible to lose weight in 5 days. It's just a drug and magic remedies act. Okay, so isse se whenever you're studying schedules, see to it that you simultaneously study acts as well. Like if I talk about Schedule X, so NTPS, Narcotic and Psychotropic Substance Act. Schedule J, DMR, Drug and Magic Remedies Act, and DNC, Drug and Cosmetic Act. Okay, so there are certain acts that you need to know when you're studying these schedules. So J is for Jadoo, magic, those drugs that claims to cure. ये word आपको दिखा है, और may not purport to cure. Okay, that means जो उसका the indication for which it is given, it is not fulfilling that indication. Next up we have M. So M में we have M1, M2, M3, just like F. So this is very important. M1 is for homeopathic. M2 is for cosmetics. M3 is for medical device. These words, you do not have to read the statement. Just catch these words: homeopathic, cosmetics, and medical device. Now, M2 and S, schedule M2 and S are going to confuse you again. Ask me how. Because both have cosmetics. M2 also has cosmetics and S also. But read that this was a NIPER 2022 question. When they ask you standards for cosmetics, it is S. S for standards. When they ask you GMP, good manufacturing practices, or factory premises for cosmetics, it is M2. So S and M2. Again, why am I teaching all in pairs? Because these are the schedules where they will play upon. Next up, N. N is for minimum equipment to run a pharmacy store. So whenever you are going for a pharmacy store, wholesale, there are certain equipments, certain things that you require to open besides the license. So N is for minimum equipments. O is for disinfectant fluids. Okay. OD, disinfectant fluids. Schedule O is for disinfectant fluids. Next up, we have schedule P. Now in P, again, we have P and P1. Now the P stands for life period, while the P1 stands for pack size. P stands for life period, while P1 stands for pack size. Okay, so be very careful and specific. This was a question in Manipal 2023. They had asked about the pack size, and in the option, it was given option A P, option B P1, option C P and P1 both, option D none of the above. So many of them have marked P and P1, many of them have marked P, but the right answer was only P1. They had specifically asked about the pack size, not the life period. So see to it that you're very much acquainted with these terms. Whenever reading, whatever words I'm using today, just write those words. Don't need to write these statements. Q. Q is for having two parts, part 1 and part 2. In part 2, we have colors in soaps, while in part 1, we have colors, dyes, pigments. There are a lot many dyes, pigments, right? You would have known. Lots of pigments and dyes to give coloration, like chlorophyll pigment is for green color, right? So there are a lot of pigments. So it is for in cosmetics and soaps both. Okay. So Q is for 1 and 2. So there are coal tar dyes as well that are very widely used in industry for bleaching and lot of other purposes. Next up, we have R. R is for contraceptives. R is for contraceptives. Contraceptives may in the spelling there is R, no? Tra. So that tra means R, contraceptives. Now again, something that is very confusing is going to come up. R1. R1. Can you see R1? Abhi, R1 is again for medical device, but it is standards, not GMP for medical device. Observe. So this is how you observe things. They will, and when we are in haste, when we are solving paper, we don't read questions. So see to it that you read it. Next up, we have T. So just like for good manufacturing practices of allopathic drugs and other drugs, we have M. For good manufacturing practices of Ayurvedic drugs, we have D. We have T. Ayush, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Homeopathy. We have T. Schedule T. So if they ask you specifically that give the factory premises good manufacturing practices for Ayush drugs, you need to mention about the schedule T. U is not important, but you may only remember records. It is for records. If you want to remember, otherwise it's never asked in examination. Next up, we have, can we please mute ourselves so that we don't face any disturbances? Thank you. The next up, we have schedule X and schedule Y. So as I previously mentioned, X is for all narcotic substances, right? Can somebody give me the examples of narcotic substances? Matlab, in the examination, since it is an exam that is conducted by a committee who is also conducting NEET PG. So if you see the past previous year, they play upon applications. So can you give me examples of narcotic drugs and psychotropic drugs on YouTube and on Zoom both? Right, amphetamine, have you heard about? There are so many, and you name a drug, ecstasy, MDMA, and methyl D-amphetamine, so many different drugs that are narcotic and psychotropic. So they might ask you that MDMA belongs to the dash schedule. So application based question, these are known as application based questions. They might not ask you directly narcotic, so you should know that it's a narcotic, right? Y is for clinical trials. So whenever we want to go for clinical trials, we need schedule Y. We need to follow the guidelines of schedule Y to be more specific, right? Requirements and guidelines for schedule Y for clinical trials. And we are going to study clinical trials today itself. So I hope that you will be able to remember. U1, again, not important. V and W, we have to study this simultaneously. Why so? V and W. So we all would have heard about patent and generic. Patent का दूसरा नाम है proprietary. The other name for patent is proprietary, while the other name for generic is non-proprietary medications, right? Generics. So V and W, what is the difference between them? Obviously, pehle just use common sense, okay? Many people just ratify it, just mug up. No. First, you will patent something. Once you patent, uske baad, after it expires after 20, or what is the duration of a patent? Since you are a
20
GPAT
years.
aspirants, what is the duration of patent? 5 years, 10
years.
years. Very good, 20 years. So after 20 years, a new molecule will come as a generic molecule. So V and W. W comes after V, no? So patent, generic comes after patent, VW. Done. This is how you read your schedules. One common question, since vitamins are very important nowadays. So vitamins say this table is enough. Is table ke bahar, nothing outside table might come in your examination. So you need to know this. Till then, in the chat box, let me know quickly which are the water soluble vitamins, and which just give me two water soluble vitamins. Come on, quickly.
Vitamin B and C.
I like your speed, everybody. B and C. B and C are water soluble. Rest all A, D, E, K are fat soluble vitamins. Beginning with vitamin E. So E is also known as tocopherol, and tocopherol having a coumarin ring. Now the smarties of you all are smarties. So can somebody tell me a drug which has a coumarin ring? Can somebody give me a drug which has a coumarin ring? Hint. Very good. Warfarin is an anticoagulant, inhibiting vitamin K epoxide reductase and factor 2, 8, 2, 7, 9, 10. So warfarin is having coumarin ring, and it is the deficiency, anti-fertility. It is also called as an anti-fertility hormone. So if this is deficient, it might the function might be altered. It might lead to fertility problems. It might lead to oxidative stress in our body. That is why we tell vitamin E and C should be more, so that the oxidative stress in our body is balanced. Vitamin A. A is retinol. Now retinol has two forms, cis and trans. It is much in detail. You don't have to study, but just know that trans retinol is usually more active. So retinol yes, very good. So retinol, we have beta ion ring in retinol, and the deficiency causes night blindness. Everybody knows about night blindness. Next up, we have vitamin C. C for scurvy. Sabko pata hai. Everybody is used to the familiar to this term, scurvy. It has a furazolidine ring. This is where lot of students make mistake. In the options, they have given furazolidine dione, furazolidone, furazolidine. So this suffix is very important. Every ring, every suffix in heterocyclic chemistry. In the further lecture, Aman sir is going to teach you about Hans-Wittmann rule and all. So there you will know about the importance of these suffix. So please be very specific when you're studying the ring. Vitamin D is the only vitamin containing a steroid nucleus. And can somebody tell me the active form of vitamin D on YouTube? Why is YouTube so quiet? Why am I not able to see a lot of responses on YouTube? Can I expect few answers over there as well? Vitamin D, we have active form as D3, cholecalciferol, right? And D2 is ergocalciferol. So the deficiency causes rickets and white spots and osteomalacia, tenderness of the bones, right? Next up, we have vitamin B complexes. So before we start, let me complete with vitamin K before we start with B. So vitamin K has three forms. phylloquinone, menaquinone, and K3, which is menadione. Please mention about this. I forgot to write about menadione. Please write about this drug, about this vitamin. Phylloquinone, menaquinone, menadione. So it is responsible for clotting. बोलते हैं ना that you are given vitamin K supplementations when your blood is not getting clot to prevent excessive hemorrhage. So it is responsible for gamma dependent carboxylation of clotting factors 2, 7, 9, 10. Right? I hope we all have studied these clotting factors. Can somebody tell me fibrinogen is a clotting factor? Prothrombin is a which clotting factor? Can somebody tell me prothrombin is a which clotting factor number? Nobody? Nobody can answer that? Very good. Prothrombin is factor 2. Very good. And Stewart power factor? Stewart power factor? Right? Factor 10. Factor 10. Right? I hope we all are aware about these. So this is also being asked in basics of HAP. Right? So this we'll try to cover, but see to it that you have your basics of HAP covered. Right? Then up we have vitamin B. So vitamin B complex में B1 में thiamine, which is having a thia. Easy है? Thiazole, and the disease is beriberi. B2 riboflavin. So it is responsible for FMN and FMNH2 or FADH2. You all would have heard about this cofactor, flavin adenine dinucleotide, flavin mono, right? We all would have heard about this. So like there is NADH2. Similarly, there is FADH2, FMN, FMNH2. So riboflavin is responsible for these cofactors, and the ring is isoaloxazine ring, and it causes retinal damage, retinal impairment. So like diabetes also there is retinopathy. Similarly, we have vitamin B3, which is nicotinic acid. So nicotinic acid has a pyridine ring. Okay. Since we have a lot of GPAT aspirants, can somebody tell me an anti-TB drug which is having a pyridine ring? Can somebody give me an example of an very good? Isoniazid is having a pyridine ring, and the disease caused the deficiency causes pellagra, right? B4 is choline, which is not important at all for you to study, so leave it. B5 is pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid is a very specific group, which is sulfur group. So it is having a mercapto. Mercapto means sulfur. So mercaptoethylamine, and which mercapto? Beta mercaptoethylamine. B6, we have pyridoxal pyrophosphate, PPP. So it is the deficiency causes peripheral neuropathy. Very important. And since isoniazid we have mentioned, does isoniazid also has relation with peripheral neuropathy? So whenever you're given isoniazid, are you given vitamin B6 supplements as well? Are you given B6 supplements as well? I hope we are able to link this. So this is how you link your pharmacology with biochemistry and other subjects. Next up, we have vitamin B7, which is known as vitamin H. So vitamin H is very, very important because biotin is responsible for your hair, for your skin, all your external appearance, bolte na, that characteristics. Internally also there are properties, but we are not discussing them because it's not of your use. But vitamin B7 is H. It is also called as biotin. So it is also called as vitamin H. It is having an imidazole ring. Okay, can somebody give me an example of an antifungal drug with an imidazole ring? Can somebody give me an example of an antifungal drug with an imidazole ring? You all are all sorry?
Ketoconazole.
Okay. Clotrimazole, ketoconazole. We have a lot of drugs with imidazole, triazole ring, right? So obviously it will be responsible for dermatitis, hair loss, and a lot of other diseases. Vitamin B9 and B12, you have to study it simultaneously. Ask me why. Both of them causes anemia. This was a question in IIT BHU, if I'm not wrong, last year. Anemia दोनों ही cause करते हैं, but which anemia is caused by which vitamin is important. In the alphabetically, M comes first and P comes later, right? A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So first comes M. Similarly, 9, 12 में first comes 9 and then comes 12. So megaloblastic anemia by vitamin B9 deficiency and pernicious anemia by vitamin B12 deficiency. Okay, and it is also called as cyanocobalamin, and vitamin B9 is also called as folic acid. Okay, folic acid का जिक्र हुआ है. So I want y'all to answer one of my question. Can you all tell me a drug which acts on folic acid and it is having anti-cancer property? Jaldi se. Can somebody tell me on YouTube why is YouTube so
Methotrexate.
Methotrexate.
very good? Vitamin, which is folic acid antagonist, having a pteridine ring, right? Up pteridine ring has what is very very important. So the structure also you should know. We'll be covering in medicinal chemistry part, but it is a fusion of pyrimidine and pyrazine. So they ask about this also. Pteridine ring is a fusion of dash and dash. So you should be able to know that it is a fusion of pyrimidine and pyrazine, right? Done with vitamins? Done. I hope nobody is sleeping. Everybody is fresh and awake. Moving on to clinical trials, we will be moving through this particular chart quickly because it is already done with all of you all. So there are 5 phases: phase 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So phase 0 is called as the preclinical phase or a microdosing phase, where the dose is titrated. It is microdosed. It is carried out in animals. It is carried out for the new chemical entity or the new molecular entity, NCENM. Major purpose is pharmacological and toxicological screening. So we need certain screening phase as well, right? For safety pharmacology or toxicology. So we go for phase 0 studies. Phase 1 may we have clinical phase, which is carried out in healthy volunteers. A question of Manipal and BITS. Phase 1 is carried out in DASH volunteers. It is carried out in healthy volunteers, while rest all the others are carried out in diseased or patients. And the number of volunteers is subjects is 10 to 30. And when the drug is under filing, it is known as INDA, Investigational New Drug Application. So I hope that we all are aware about INDA and NDA, Investigational New Drug Application and Abbreviated New Drug Application. So the major purpose is safety. In phase 2, we have 30 to 300 volunteers. So 30 to 300 volunteers are specific for phase 2. And again, its major purpose is safety and efficacy. Moving on to the phase 3. So in phase 3, we have 300 to 3,000 volunteers, right? So the number of volunteers is increased in phase 3. And now the drug is to be known as the NDA, New Drug Application, which is a non-generic or a proprietary drug or a patented drug. And if it's a non-patented drug or a generic one, so it will only require bioequivalence data, and it will be known as ANDA, bioequivalence data, and it will be known as ANDA, which is abbreviated new drug application. Clear? Clear to all of you? And lastly, we have phase 4. So in phase 4, we have post-marketing surveillance. So in the phase 4 is very specific because we have to check the adverse drug reactions in this phase. And here where your pharmacovigilance plays a role. So pharmacovigilance means adverse drug reaction aa jayega. Okay. And this is what is importance of phase 4. So the 5 parameters that you have to remember while studying clinical trials: type of volunteer, number of volunteers, importance of the drug in which phase it is going, the purpose of that clinical trial phase, and the synonym of that clinical trial. Like phase 2 is therapeutic exploratory. Phase 3 is confirmatory. Obviously, na, first you will explore something, then you will confirm. ऐसे तो नहीं है that directly you will confirm that हाँ, yeah, this is the correct. First you will explore that which tickets is comparatively cheaper, and then you will confirm I will buy my ticket from this particular website. So first explore and then confirm. So phase 2 and phase 3. This is your clinical trial ke different phases. Next up, we have biochemistry, say few tests, and this we have lot of tests that directly come up in our examination, right? So we have lot of tests, but you only need to remember the coloration if that's possible on your side, or else you can remember the name of the test and the use or the purpose, right? So we have biuret test. Biuret test is for peptide linkage. Peptide. I hope we know about CONH, amide bond. I hope we all are acquainted and familiar with amide peptide bond, right? So biuret peptide, BP, blood pressure, right? Biuret peptide bond. Ninhydrin alpha amino acids, Na. Ninhydrin is for, and to be more specific, L alpha amino acids. L alpha amino acids. Okay. Body में, can somebody tell me, do we have L alpha amino acids or D alpha amino acids? which is more prevalent in our body? This was a question of one of the CUET, I think so. Can you all tell me that in which phase, which is the amino acid which is most prevalent in our body? Yes, is it L-alpha amino acid? So you need to know this, it's very important. Next up, we have xanthoprotic test. So xanthoprotic test is very, very specific for aromatic amino acids. अब application based question पूछना होगा. So they will ask you, phenylalanine can be detected via which test? So you should know that phenylalanine is a kind of aromatic amino acid. So it will be detected by xanthoprotic test, right? And in this vitamin, can you in this amino acid, can you tell me which amino acid has an indole ring? Which amino acid has an indole ring? Indole ring. Indole.
Tryptophan.
Tryptophan has an indole ring. And can you give me an example of an anti-cancer drug which is obtained from, I'll not give you all the hint. First, let me know how many people remember. An anti-cancer drug which is having an indole ring. First hint for you all, it is an alkaloid.
Vinclustine.
Vinclustine for leukemia.
Very good for leukemia, chronic myeloid burkitt's, lots of purposes for vinclustine and vinblastine. Hodgkin's lymphoma, we have heard about these cancers conditions. So it is a indole alkaloid. And so this is how, see, I link cognosy. So whenever you're studying the subject, see to it that you link one subject with another one, right? Next up, we have Millen's test. So Millen's test is very, very specific only for phenol. And there is only one amino acid which has a phenol ring, which is tyrosine. So no question of doubts here. Phenol, tyrosine, finished. And now can you tell me which is an optically inactive amino acid? Can you give me an example of an optically inactive amino acid?
Glycine.
Glycine is an example of an optically inactive amino acid. Very good. Good going on. Next up, we have Hopkins-Coles test. So as I mentioned about the answer to screen par hi tha. Tryptophan, so it is having an indole ring. Sagakuchi, very interesting name, like Japan में कुछ sound करता है, Nagasaki types, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, वैसे Sagakuchi. So we have guanidine containing arginine amino acid. Can you all tell me a drug which is having a guanidine group? Anybody who knows about the drug having guanidine group? Hint for you all on YouTube. Why is the YouTube so cold today? Why am I not getting so much response from YouTube? We have, it is a belonging to the category of anti-diabetic. First hint for you all. Second hint, it belongs to the class of biguanides. Up to answer.
Metformin.
Right? Metformin is a guanidine containing drug for anti-diabetic or oral hypoglycemic effect. Next up, we have sodium nitroprusside test. So sodium nitroprusside test is very specific for sulfhydryl group. So sulfur and sulfur test, sulfur and nitroprusside test are both specific for cysteine, right? For sulfhydryl, SH. You will ask me, is it for methionine? No. Methionine doesn't contain a sulfur group. Does it contain a thiol linkage? So there is a difference between sulfhydryl group, thiol linkage. So SMS all sulfur containing amino acids will show this test. Only a amino acid which is having a sulfhydryl group will show these two tests. Next we have poly. So poly's test is for imidazole, which is histidine. The amino acid name is histidine. Acha, histidine is a precursor for which inflammatory mediator?
Histamine.
Very good. Histamine by the reaction. Which reaction? Oxidation, reduction, decarboxylation. Or very good. Histidine on decarboxylation, which is removal of carbon dioxide, gives you histamine, which is an inflammatory mediator. Okay, we have a lot of antihistaminic drugs that are being used: chlorpheniramine, cetirizine, loratadine, and all. So next up, and the last drug, and the last this for today, name of the test for today, Fallin-Siocaltute. So Fallin-Siocaltute test is specific for tyrosine, which is a phenol containing amino acid. So tyrosine has two tests, Millen and Fallin, and non-specific test is xanthoprotic, because isse we don't come to know that it is a tyrosine. It can be a tryptophan, it can be a phenylalanine. So distinguishing test is Millen's or Fallin-Siocaltute, right? So Fallin-Siocaltute is for tyrosine and Millen is also for tyrosine. I hope we all are awake and fresh. And मेरे साथ जितने भी, I think so we have 400 participants till now and all are paying attention, right? So moving on to the sterilization. So sterilization ke we have three types: physical, chemical, biological, right? So today we will be covering physical sterilization specifically. So physical sterilization can be either by heat, either by a radiation source, or by filtration. Membrane filter. Let me start with the question. Membrane filter ki thickness. What is the thickness of membrane filter? And what is the
0.02 micrometer.
Is it 0.22 or 0.45? Here is where we all make mistakes. A homework for all. I will not tell you.
0.22.
Okay. And where is 0.45 used then? Where is 0.4? Is it used in membrane filtration technique for assay? Is it used in membrane filtration technique for assay? I hope we are aware about this concept. Very good. Whoever answered it, good job. So membrane filter ki size pe question aata hai, and you need to be well acquainted with this. Okay. Next we have radiation. So radiation can be either ionizing. It can ionize the electrons and ionize the molecule and lead to generation of electrons. Or it can we please mute? Or it can be non-ionizing. So in ionizing, we have X-rays and gamma rays, right? We have X-rays. Saraswati, आप mute कर सकते हैं? We have X-rays and gamma rays, right? So this X-rays and gamma rays are very important because they ionize a particular molecule. While in non-ionizing, we have UVIR. UVIR. Okay. So be very specific when you're talking about non-ionizing, it is UVIR. Okay. And when you're talking about ionizing, it is GIX. मैंने तो GIX याद रखा था. Gamma ionizing X-rays. Because I used to get confused in this too. And this is which is known as a cold sterilization. Anybody who knows this answer, which is known as a cold sterilization?
Pasteurization.
Sorry?
Pasteurization.
No. Pasteurization is not called as cold sterilization.
Radiation sterilization.
Very good. I hope we are aware about cold sterilization technique. Cold क्यों? Because हम heat नहीं apply कर रहे ना, we are not using heat. So it is also known as cold sterilization technique. Now, when I talk about heat, heat can be dry heat or moist heat. That means a heat with a steam. That is why autoclave is also called as steam under pressure. लिख लो, write this. Autoclave equipment is also called as equipment of steam under pressure. So autoclave is operated above 100 degrees Celsius. And below and at 100, we will see soon few things about below 100. Does anybody have heard about pasteurization, tyndallization? Kahin aayega ye? Anybody who can tell me where will tyndallization fall? Will it fall at below 100 or at 100? Anybody? None of you? Okay, we'll study it soon, today only. So when we talk about autoclave, it is having 3 degrees, 121, 126, 134. What is the minutes? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Sorry, what is the pressure? 15 psi, 20 psi, 30 psi. What is the minute? 15, 10, and 3 to 5. So as and when you increase the pressure, the time will reduce. Obviously, आप temperature भी बढ़ा रहे हो. You are increasing the temperature. You are increasing the pressure in psi. So obviously, the time will reduce. ना जल्दी हो जाएगा. So this table is important. Why? It has been asked in Manipal, CUET, and GATE 2023 and 2022. So you should be aware about this table: temperature, time, and pressure. Okay. Next up, we have hot. Dry heat is not important. Trust me. Only important is hot air oven ka temperature. So can somebody tell me 150 degree pe how much time you keep, and at 160 degree at how much time? Do we keep it for 2 hours at 150 degree and 1 hour for 60 degree and 45 minutes for 170 degree? Am I right? Different books will have little variation, but usually according to the standard books like Hugo, Russell, Pelzar and all. So it is 150, 160, 170 at 2 hours, 1 hour and 45 minutes respectively. So hot air oven ka this temperature you have to remember. ठीक है? याद रखेंगे? I hope we will not forget the temperature. I hope we will not forget the temperature. Done. Am I right? I'm watching on YouTube as well. I hope you guys are answering well. है ना? Next up, we have this validation. But before we start validation, let me show you all two terms. Pasteurization. Okay, this is getting hidden. Yeah. Pasteurization. So what are the two types of pasteurization? Is it high temperature short term, low temperature long term, which is also called as flash method and holder method? This ये पूछेंगे ना एग्जाम में, this they will ask, very high chances. Flash method is used for 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. Just give me one moment. 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. Some people write it 72.8 or something, but approx 72 degrees. While holder is for 62.8 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. अब तुम बोलोगे 10 डिग्री में इतना difference in the time from 15 seconds to 30 minutes. Yes, it is a difference. So please note about this. It's very, very important that you are acquainted about this terminologies. So we have 72 degrees Celsius पे 15 seconds के लिए, and we have 30 at 62.8 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, right? So I hope that we will not forget this to temperature and time and the technique. So high temperature short term, which is a flash sterilization, and low temperature long term, which is a holder sterilization. They are both pasteurization for milk, but the time and the method is different, right? Now the next up we have tyndallization. Tyndallization is also called as fractional sterilization. So tyndallization is also called as fractional sterilization, or anybody who knows another name. ये जो name है, if somebody gives me the answer of this, one dairy milk chocolate for sure, parcel. Do you all know any other name for tyndallization? It is given in a standard book. So अगर किसी ने standard book पढ़ी होगी, they for sure they will answer this. Nobody is answering till now. Chalo, time's up. It is also called as intermittent sterilization. So in the examination, if they ask you, intermittent sterilization is carried out at 100 degrees Celsius for 3 successive days for 20 minutes. It is 80 to 100, okay? It's not necessary at 100, but 80 to 100 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes for 3 successive days. So this is what you call as tyndallization or fractional sterilization or intermittent sterilization. So this slide encompasses almost all components जो आपके sterilization से पूछेंगे. जो एक चीज that is remaining is validation. Anything you do requires a validation. What is validation? Something to prove something, right? To confirm something. So we have like if I want to confirm that you all have scored well, yet you all have studied well. So in the mock test that CliMed is going to conduct with me in the last lecture, I will see the score. If you score well, I will understand that yes, you are well validated. So we have different sterilization techniques. We have gaseous sterilization, we have filtration, we have moist heat, we have ionizing. So different sterilization has different types of biological indicators. So moist heat में we have Bacillus stereothermophilus. Dry heat में we have Bacillus subtilis varniger. Ethylene oxide, which is a gaseous sterilization, we have Bacillus subtilis globi and also varniger. Both can be used. Ionizing में, since I mentioned ionizing में we have X-rays and gamma rays, we have Bacillus pumulus. This is very, very important. Okay, this table, I hope you have taken a screenshot or this slides will be provided to you, but make this table. See to it that whenever we teach, you write with us. Okay, even if you're tired, even if you have come from college, spare 1 hour and write. The more you write, the more you will learn. So pumulus is specific for radiation sterilization, right? And the last up, we have filtration sterilization. So in filtration sterilization, we have diminutia species. So it can be Brevin diminutus or Pseudomonas diminutia. It can be Pseudomonas diminutia or it can be Breviomonas diminutia, right? These both species can be used for filtration sterilization. Clear? The next thing that we are going to move to something very new and something very, give me a moment. So there is a problem. Okay, fine. Yeah, I hope now we can see the table. So we have three types of rate of reaction. We have first order, zero order, and second order. We also have pseudo first order and pseudo zero order, but we will be discussing about that a little later on, right? But before that, we have rate law. So rate law, there is no question asked. So don't study. Integrated, no need. Plot, yes. They ask questions on plot. So concentration against time. Logarithmic concentration against time. Inverse of concentration against time. You need to know that in which order reaction, what is the plot graph. So you would have seen this type of graph. Some graph looks like this, parabola, hyperbola, right? We all would have known about these terms, right? Sigmoid curve, S shape. So we have bacterial growth curve is a sigmoid curve, lag, log, stationary phase, death phase. Similarly, in the rate of reaction, we have different phases of plots. So here we have this particular, and slope is positive only in second order. That means only second order reaction gives a positive slope. Rest all give negative slope. Negative slope. So the rate of reaction is dependent upon this slope, right? There is nothing that you need to know about this terms, right? Only thing that you need to know is this concept. You don't need to know much in detail. Itna time nahi hai ki you understand the concept that how is the slope negative. If I would have time, I would have explained, but there's less time. So just know about these terminologies. And finally, half-life. If there is question that the half-life of a first order reaction is independent upon the concentration, but the rate of reaction is dependent upon the concentration. What did I say? Come here on the whiteboard with me. I will explain you all over here. Okay. So there are two reactions, right? Zero order and first order. So if I talk about these two reactions, in zero order, we have rate of reaction, we have half-life. So rate of reaction is independent in zero order, but dependent in first order. Make this table with me, okay? I hope you are making this table with me. While in half-life, zero order mate is dependent, but first order mate is independent. Zero order mate is dependent, first order mate is independent, right? Dependent and independent. So this was a previous year question of IIT BHU and Manipal. So you need to know these terms very well. जीरो ऑर्डर में कौन सा रेट डिपेंडेंट है, कौन सा हाफ लाइफ डिपेंडेंट है, फर्स्ट विच रिएक्शन इज व्हाट, राइट? सो मेक दिस टेबल very nice. ठीक है, just see to it that you make this table. Done. I hope you all would have copied this. So let's move back. So this is what I was talking about, the rate of reaction and the half life. Okay, besides this you can also study about the formula for shelf life. So shelf life is basically, for first order reaction, the formula for shelf life is 0.105 upon K. And for zero order, it is A naught upon 10K. K is the rate constant, okay? It's not 1000, it is rate constant. So A naught upon 2K and A naught upon 10K. Half-life, and this is for shelf life. So if you are trying for a rank in GPAT, so this is important. Shelf life का formula for first order, this is for first order, this is for zero order. Okay, done. Moving on to one important concept of pharmacology, which is disulfira, that is alcohol poisoning. Okay, so in KD Tripathi and Goodman, Gilman, in any book you pick up, Rang and Dale, you will find only 1 or 2 pages on alcohol. But in these 1 or 2 pages is some important content that is hidden. So you need to know this content, right? If I talk about methanol, methanol gets converted into formaldehyde or methanol, and it gets converted into formic acid or methanoic acid. Formic acid or methanoic acid. So there are two drugs that are very having familiar function but different enzymes. Fomepizole, this is fomepizole and disulfiram. So the fomepizole is basically involved in alcohol dehydrogenase inhibition, while your disulfiram is involved in aldehyde dehydrogenase inhibition. This is a major difference between fomepizole and disulfiram. Fomepizole, alcohol dehydrogenase, disulfiram, aldehyde dehydrogenase. So see to it that you know the difference between fomepizole and disulfiram. They both are inhibiting the alcohol poisoning only, but the enzyme is different. One is alcohol dehydrogenase and the other is aldehyde dehydrogenase. Okay. So this is important from this particular slide, the difference between fomepizole and disulfiram. Okay, please make a note of this. It comes in examination. Similar to F, there is another drug. This was a question of IIT BHU. Flumazenil. Can somebody tell me flumazenil is what? Can somebody tell me what?
Benzodiazepine antidote.
Very good. It is an antidote for benzodiazepine poisoning, like diazepam, oxazepam, lorazepam. Right? So flumazenil is a benzodiazepine antagonist. Now next up is a different subject, like क्योंकि I wanted that you get acquainted with lot of subjects today. Like I wanted to know कि आपको basics पता चले. That is why in the first lecture I've chosen 4 subjects for you all today. So you have a basic of every subject and how much to go in detail. So moving on to the to the analytical part, pharmaceutical analysis, titrations. This is how you make a chart of titrations: gravimetry, complexometry, precipitation, acid base, or neutralization. These are 4 major categories of titration. Now in gravimetry titration, you have a lot of different things that to be taken into consideration, like von Weyermann's ratio, co-precipitation, what is post-precipitation, lot of things, what is weighing, what is supersaturation theory and all, right? But we will try not to cover that part because there are no questions coming up from that part. So we will not be covering that part. But there are certain indicators, certain primary and secondary important indicators that are useful, right? So we have primary standard, we have secondary standard. Which one is a more pure? Is primary standard more pure and more clean, or secondary standard is more pure and more clean? Pharmaceutical analysis semester 1. Let me know how many people can remember this. How many of you remember this? Co-precipitation and
Primary.
Very good, very good. For primary standard is more clean and more pure than secondary. Complexometry mein you need to remember the indicator. So complexometry mein the indicator used is metallochromic indicator or PM indicator. What indicator? PM indicator or metallochromic. So indicator ka naam hai. It is a specific indicator only for complexometry titration. Okay. So the example is murexide, solochrome, eriochrome. Murexide, solochrome, eriochrome. Done. And there is these are the major Mordant black 3. Okay, so yehi aapko yaad rakhna hai. This is what they ask in examination. They will ask you murexide is an indicator for which reaction, for which titration. So it should click you on the point, right? Next up we have precipitation. So in precipitation you need to know the difference between Mohr and Goulart. Which is a direct reaction, which is an indirect, like Mohr is a direct titration. Goulart is an indirect titration. Does anybody know any other difference between Mohr and Goulart? Please type in the chat box and YouTube. I'm waiting. There is one very important difference between two of them. Anybody who can answer that? Mohr and Goulart. Besides direct and indirect. Both are argentometry titration. Okay. What is argentometry? Argentometry is estimation of silver. Argentinum. Okay, argentometric titration. But the indicator used in Mohr is chromate indicator. Very, very important. The indicator used in Mohr is chromate indicator. Chromate, and in Goulart it is ferric indicator. Okay, which is direct and indirect, but the indicator is very important. Chromate and ferric indicator, right? Clear? Fajan's method is specific for adsorption indicator. Fajan's method में you know about the adsorption indicators. Adsorb होता है followed by back titration. There is a back titration like वो lad only. But what you need to remember from this, the type of adsorption indicator. So the example is fluorescein. They will ask you this example, fluorescein, which is an adsorption indicator. There is EOG, fluorescein, a lot of indicators. EOG also you can write, which is an acidic indicator, EOG, right? Gay-Lussac's method, it is not that important, so we can leave Gay-Lussac's method. Anybody who knows it, does Gay-Lussac's is also called as method of turbidity. It is also called as method of turbidity. You only need to know this particular part from Gay-Lussac's. If they ask you that this is a method of titration which is based on turbidity, so it is Gay-Lussac's method of turbidometry. Then next up we have redox reactions. So in redox reaction we have iodometry, iodimetry, bromatometry, permanganometry, seriometry, dichrometry, iodatometry. So iodato is KiO3. Acha, iodo and iodimetry. To all the 300 people watching right now, can you all tell me which is a direct titration and which is an indirect titration? Can you all tell me which is a direct titration and which is an indirect titration? Quickly. A hint for y'all. Okay, अच्छे से सुनना. Iodine में the spelling has DI, no? DI is for direct. So the other will be automatically indirect. Always remember one part of the classific of the distinguish. अपने आप दूसरा वाला opposite ही होगा ना. दोनों क्यों? Why you have to remember both the parts. So iodimetry is direct titration. Iodometry is indirect titration. Done? Clear? I hope we are clear. Just few more minutes, 15 minutes. I hope none of us leaves, because after this there is 2 slides left and question slides left. So I hope that we are not leaving the session. I can see 10, 15 people have left. Please don't leave. If you all want rank, if you all want something good, you have to listen, right? Acid base में not important, but ये जो चार I've written strong acid, weak acid, strong base. You need to know the graphs of these. So one has a V-shaped graph, one has a downfall graph, one has an upward graph. So this is what they ask, basics. You need to know the graphs of strong acid, strong base from acid base path. And with this, I want to cover 3 theories: Lewis acid-base theory, Arrhenius acid-base theory, and Laurie-Bronsted. So Lewis, Laurie, Bronsted, and I will be telling you all one term, and you have to tell me which theory it will fall. If I talk about electron pair accept and donor, which theory it will be? Electron pair on YouTube. Why is people on YouTube not answering? Can you all tell me which is the people on Zoom are answering quickly? I hope. Okay, there is a lag of 5 seconds. Okay. No worries. But still, yeah, you all can answer on YouTube. So yes, if I talk about Lewis, it deals with electrons. If I talk about Laurie Bronsted, it deals with protons. If I talk about Arrhenius, it deals with hydroxyl and hydrogen ions. So base gives hydroxyl ions, acid gives hydrogen ions, right? And which is the equation? Can somebody tell me the equation for Arrhenius, for pH? pH के लिए कौन सा equation है? Do you all remember the equation? Which HH? What is HH? What is HH? Henderson.
natural base.
Very good. pH is equal to pKa plus log of salt upon acid or salt upon base, depending upon the type which you are giving, right? So, and acid is a proton donor or a proton acceptor? Acid is a proton donor or a proton acceptor? Acid है ना, acid को negative है ना, acid सुन के negative लगता है, तो वो proton क्या है? Positive है. तो negativity के पास positivity कैसे रह सकती है? तो acid proton donate करता है, electron accept करता है, negativity लेगा, positivity देगा. ठीक है? So this is what is the difference between a Lewis acid, a Laurie Bronsted acid, and a Arrhenius acid base. Done. So I think so we can move on to the question answer part. But before that, I can take another few minutes to teach you all one slide. Ajit sir, shall we continue with one more slide if the time permits? I have.
Yes, ma'am, we can continue for one more slide. Yeah.
Okay. So let's have some more slides today. So
Oh, you
these are
can continue for 10-15 minutes. It's okay.
okay.
Aram. No
Cool.
worries.
So we have few acts. Okay. So हमारे pharmacy में काफी सारे acts and we need to know the dates of these acts. Okay. So see to it that you are very much familiar with these dates and the particular topic that is related to that particular act. So Poison Act जो है वो सबसे पहले आया था in the year 1990.
1919.
Very good, very good. Can we please type in the chat box? Everybody can answer. I am looking at your answers, but please in the chat box, please avoid unmuting. Next we have 1930, which is a Dangerous Drug Act. Dangerous Drug Act. And this sequence and this timeline आपको कहीं नहीं मिलेगा. Okay, you will not find this, all of this in one side. So I have exclusively put it in one place for you. So see to it that you write along with me. Next up, we have in 1945 and 1940 Drug and Cosmetic Act, D&C Act. 1940 में Act आया, 1945 में Rule आया. Understood? 1940 में Act आया, 1945 में Rule आया. Next we have NTPS Act. So in NTPS Act we have 1980. Anybody? Before I write, anybody wants to answer?
1985.
Very good. 1985. Drug and Magic Remedies Act. 1950. 50. What? 54. Medical and Toilet Preparation Act. 1955. Dekho how close the dates are. 54, 55. DPCO, which is a drug price control order. So there is one act associated with it, which is NLEM, National List for Essential Medicines, and NPPA, which is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. So why am I giving all these abbreviations? In NIPER and in GPAT, sometimes they ask abbreviations. So you need to know the full form of these abbreviations. So NLEM is National List of Essential Medicines. NPPA is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. Right, so it came in the year 2013. Okay, does anybody know that 2013 ke pehle bhi there was one revision? Anybody knows the date? Anybody who knows the date below before 19 also there was one. Anybody who wants to answer? 2013 to latest revision hai. Usse pehle none of you know. Sad to hear that. Okay, I will also not tell you all that. Homework for y'all. Find out one more revision is there before 2013. Okay, is it 1980, 1970, 1985, 1990? And it's around 1990. Okay, hint. Patents Act, I want MTP, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, was in the year 1979. Patents Act was in the year 1970. Prevention to the Cruelty of Animal. Anybody who wants to answer? Anybody who wishes to answer?
1980. 1960.
No. Please don't unmute. I request you all to answer in chat box only. Okay, all 200 people are supposed to answer that. And I am having a look at very good 1960 and then 1963. There was one more revision as well. Okay, after 1960 there was another revision in 63, but that's not important. But you have to remember majorly 1916 PCA, which is Prevention to the Cruelty of Animals Act. Done. Are we familiar with this particular table? Pharmacy Act कब आया? Pharmacy Act कब आया? 1948. Pharmacy Act 1948. Are we aware about the Pharmacy Act 1948? I hope so. So please take a screenshot or whatever if you have written this. I will be moving on to the next slide. Which is on biopharmaceutics, the fifth subject for today. I hope we are not overloaded, but since we want a good rank, we can do this much. Okay. So there is Michaelis-Menten equation in biopharmaceutics. All the semester 6 students will be able to understand this very well. We have 3 categories. Okay. So ye jo table hai, again, you will not find this table anywhere. Okay. I have made this table personally for you. So see to it that you make this table. So this is a reaction, 0 order, mixed order, and first order. And according to this, there is difference in the maximum velocity, and the Km is the affinity, binding affinity of an enzyme to the substrate of a particular ligand to the receptor. Okay, Km and Vmax. So when your Km and Vmax both are equal, it is a mixed order. मतलब वो पहले first order होगा and then वो zero order हो जाएगा ऐसे. First order and then zero order, mixed order. If it is Km is greater than Vmax, which is the binding affinity of a particular molecule of a particular enzyme is greater than the velocity, maximum velocity, it will be a first order. It will linearly increase with the increase in the concentration. While when the maximum velocity is greater than the Km, which is the binding affinity, it will be a zero order reaction. It will be like this one. There will be stagnant graph. It will not show any particular movement. Okay, so you need to know about this Michaelis-Menten's three prerequisites you can take. Okay, and the last concept for today, finally, after which you will be free, is linear versus non-linear pharmacokinetics. So there are two types of PK properties, linear and non-linear, right? In linear, we call linear as dose independent and non-linear as dose dependent. Here is a big mistake that students make. Linear, non-linear, dose dependent, dose independent. They relate like this. No. If it is a linear, it is still dose independent. They are not asking you about the concentration, they are asking about the PK properties. ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion. So those properties are independent. Okay. In linear pharmacokinetics, while in non-linear, they are dose dependent. The pharmacokinetic parameters are dose dependent. So can you all tell me drugs that cause non-linear pharmacokinetics? Is phenytoin showing non-linear? Have you all studied about biopharmaceutics? Is phenytoin a drug that causes a non-linear pharmacokinetic properties? Is theophylline a drug that shows non-linear pharmacokinetics? Since we have discussed about phenytoin, can you all tell me phenytoin is a which drug? What is the category of phenytoin?
Anti-epileptic.
Anti-epileptic. And what is a ring in phenytoin? What is a ring in phenytoin?
Hydantoin.
Hydantoin ring, very good. And does phenytoin inhibit sodium channels? Does phenytoin inhibit sodium channels, right? In inactivated state or activated state? In inactivated state or activated state?
Inactivated state.
Very good, very good. These are the questions that they frequently ask. Link the biopharma with biology. This is how you link subjects, and this is how I expect you all to link. Okay, just make this distinguishing chart. Now, if I talk about linear, it is a first order reaction. Non-linear is a mixed order reaction. Non-linear is a mixed order reaction. Right? And this is not important point. This is not important. So these 2 points, they ask questions, and previous yearly this was asked. So you can understand the core importance of this particular topic. Done. Now, can I expect you all to answer a few of my questions? I have made a few questions for you. Yes. So the first question is, you will be given only 10 seconds to answer. Okay. So on YouTube as well as on GPAT as well as on Zoom, I expect you all to answer. So the first question is, life period of drug is dealt in which schedule?
Schedule P.
Please do not unmute and answer. I request all. Can we please, I know hum sab excited hai, but can we all type, please? Right? That will be fair for everybody. P, okay, your 10 seconds have started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, it is schedule P. So Q kiske liye tha? What was Q for? Q had 2 parts, no? 1 and 2. Was it for dyes color pigment? Dyes color pigment? Dyes color pigment?
Yes, in soaps.
Soaps, very good, very good. And in cosmetics. T was for T kiske liye tha? What was
GMP
T?
for Ayush.
GMP for Ayush. And R was for mechanical contraceptives or something else? Was it standards for mechanical contraceptives or something else?
Yes, contraceptives for standards.
Mechanical contraceptives, it was R, schedule R, right? So you just do it. जब आप एक MCQ solve करते हो, you don't just see the answer and move on. You see the 4 option. ये answer क्यों नहीं था? You find the rationale. Why was the other option not the right answer? The next questions, your 10 seconds starts now. Please nobody unmutes and answer. Please everybody will type in the chat box. We all can type. Okay, spores of Bacillus thermophilus are used for determining efficiency of. We are at the end of the lecture. Jaldi se, I want the high enthusiasm. Okay, so the answer is okay. Most of the people are typing the right answer. I'm happy to see it. Option C. Okay, my screen is lagging. Okay, there is some problem on my side. Just wait a second. Okay, there's a lag on my screen. Yeah, but the C is the right answer. Okay. Next up, we have option third. Question number 3. Histamine containing a specific ring can be detected by which test? Now, मैंने ये जानबूझ के I have taught you all this indirectly today. जानबूझ के I've kept this application based questions. Let me see how many of you can answer this. What's wrong with okay, yeah, moist heat was the right answer. Good job. And we will be of course discussing the other 3 options, but before that, can you tell me the answer for the third question? D. Poly. Why poly? Why poly? Because it is having an imidazole ring. Yes, poly is the right answer because it is having an imidazole ring. So imidazole ring containing amino acids is histidine. So histidine ring is present in histamine. This was a very application based question. Ab Sagakuchi is for? Sagakuchi was it for very good? Kya baat hai? I like the enthusiasm of all the participants. Guanidine, arginine amino acid containing guanidine group. Hopkin coal was for? Hopkin coal किसके लिए था? Hopkin coal किसके लिए था? Tryptophan, indole ring. Tryptophan, indole ring. Biuret was for LLP, was for peptide linkage. Done. And moving on to the second question, we'll discuss why the other was not the answer. Okay, hot air oven ke liye, what was it? Is it a dry heat? And dry heat may have we heard about one bacteria? Jaldi se, who will answer that? Which is a bacteria? Which is a bacteria? Very good. I'm happy to see you. Which is a bacteria for dry heat? Is it Bacillus subtilis varnigar? For filtration, is it Pseudomonas diminuta? Serratia maricens, Pseudomonas diminuta, right? Have we discussed this today? Brevidomonas diminuta, right? There are 3-4 bacteria for filtration, sterilization. Done. Shall we end for today? Any more doubts? Ab doubts pe aate hain aapke, hai na? I'll stop my screen sharing and yeah. How do I move the screen? Yeah, is there any doubts from anybody? I hope na ho. I hope itna acha padhaya ho to doubts na ho, but ho to bindas throw your doubts. Can you share the recorded class? It will be shared on the CliMed YouTube channel. You have to subscribe to Dr. Ajit Singh CliMed, right? We will be sharing the link also, so you can subscribe to that channel and you will be notified upon PPT. Yeah, please discuss it. We will be sharing that as well. Rest, if there are any more doubts, then throw your doubts otherwise. And please keep joining every day. The session was good. Thank you so much. If you all have any doubts, please feel free to contact us. Okay. And please keep joining these sessions. It is a booster session. Aapke help hogi isi se, hai na? Fast jayega, I know, but it will be beneficial for you, right? So I think so we can stop sharing and yeah, shall we close off for today's Ajit sir, Siddesh sir, anybody out there or any doubts? Okay, I think so there was one doubt on reference books. Yeah, reference books you have to study now. Actually, there are just, if you are a final year student, don't go for reference books because there is a lot of data, right? Go for certain short notes or the notes that we will be providing here. But if you're a third year student, There are a lot of reference book for microbe, Pelzar, Ugorisel. For biochemistry, we have Satyanarayan, Leninger, Pal, and jurisprudence ke liye we have Kuchekar, and what all subject? Brahmankar for biopharmaceutics, and for pharmacology, KD Tripathi and Lipincourt. Lipincourt is also a good book. Okay. So can we call off for today? Can we call off for today? Done? Done? All the best to all of you and see you tomorrow. In tomorrow, I think so, there will be session of pharmaceutics, or I will only take some other session, but you will
share the entire schedule with them now, Pam.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Take care.